All right, everybody, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive.
Always.
Today, we are going to take a look at website hosting,
Yeah.
and we'll be using excerpts from hosting to do so.
Sounds good.
Now, I think a lot of people use websites every single day,
Of course.
but maybe they don't really know what's going on behind the scenes
Right.
with, website hosting and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like magic.
It is.
Oh,
You just type in an address and boom,
there it is.
website. So how does that actually work?
Well,
What's going on there?
yeah, it seems like magic, but really it's just technology, right?
Okay.
So you can kind of think about it this way.
Right.
If you're going to open a store,
Okay.
you need like a physical location.
Mm-hmm.
You need a place to put your goods, your products, whatever,
Right.
so that people can come see them, right?
Yeah.
And so web hosting kind of provides that space, that foundation
I see.
for your website to exist online.
Okay, yeah, so it's like a virtual storefront.
Right.
But also the whole foundation, the whole thing's built on.
Exactly, yeah.
So in hosting, they talk about all these different types of hosting.
Mm-hmm.
There's shared hosting, VPS hosting,
Right.
dedicated hosting, and cloud hosting. Now, shared hosting?
Yes.
That sounds pretty self-explanatory, right?
Well, yeah, it's kind of like,
Like renting a room in a shared house.
exactly. Yeah, so you're basically sharing server space and resources
Right.
with other websites.
Okay.
Now, the good thing about that is it's very affordable.
Sure.
So for beginners just starting out,
Yeah.
it's a really great option.
Mm-hmm.
But it has some limitations, right?
Okay, what could go wrong?
Well, imagine this. You're running an online store.
Okay.
It's going pretty well.
Yeah.
Suddenly, another website on that same server
Oh.
goes viral.
Oh, no.
Now they've got a ton of traffic coming in,
Yeah.
which can bog down the entire server.
Right.
So then your customers are going to experience slow loading times, potentially even crashes. That's terrible. Especially, like you
Wow.
said, during a crucial, sales period or something.
Not the first impression you want to make, right?
Not at all, no.
Yeah.
So if shared hosting is like living with roommates,
Yes.
what's VPS hosting?
Oh, good question.
What's that like?
So it's still shared. You're still sharing the physical server,
Okay.
but it's like having your own kind of dedicated suite
Okay.
within that shared house, right? So you're still sharing the building, but
Yeah.
you have your own little section.
Yeah.
And with that comes guaranteed resources.
Okay.
So you have a little bit more control.
I see.
Your site's not directly impacted by those, neighbors
Yeah.
having a viral moment or something like that.
Yeah. More control's always good.
Always a plus.
And then dedicated hosting.
Ah, yes. The penthouse suite.
That sounds fancy.
It is. It is.
What is that like?
You basically have an entire server all to yourself. So you own the entire building.
You have maximum power, flexibility, security.
Sounds expensive.
It can be. It comes with a higher price tag for sure.
Yeah.
It's a good solution for large businesses.
Okay.
Or maybe websites that handle sensitive data.
Hmm.
But for like a simple blog, probably overkill.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, cloud hosting. That's
Yeah.
a buzzword you hear a lot these days.
All over the place.
What is that exactly?
So it's really interesting because it's like renting space
Okay.
in this vast interconnected network of servers.
Okay.
So imagine your website's like distributed across multiple locations.
Mhm.
If one server has an issue,
Yeah.
no problem, your site seamlessly switches to another,
Wow.
ensuring high availability and uptime.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and you only pay for the resources you use.
That's very cool. So there's a lot of different options.
Absolutely.
A lot to think about when choosing a plan.
Yeah.
Now, hosting talked about reliability and availability as being really important things to consider.
Very important.
But what's the difference between those two?
That's a great question.
I don't know.
So reliability is kind of the overall stability
Yeah.
of the hosting provider, right? So like how often do their servers actually go down?
Right. Yeah.
How quickly can they resolve those issues when they come up?
Yeah.
Availability is a bit more specific.
Okay.
And it's measured as a percentage of uptime
Over.
over a given period.
Okay.
So like 99.9% uptime is generally considered excellent.
Okay. So you basically want a host that's always there for you,
Right.
like a good friend.
Exactly. Someone you can rely on.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what about security?
Another very important topic.
Hosting.
Yeah.
Mentioned these things called SSL certificates.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what are those and why are they so important?
So SSL certificates encrypt the communication between your website
Okay.
and your visitor's browser. It's
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah.
putting all those transactions in a secure little coded envelope. that can't be easily intercepted, right?
Right. Yeah.
So this is super crucial for protecting sensitive information, like credit card details, things like that.
Right.
And it just builds trust with your users.
Right. And it makes you wonder why every website doesn't have one.
You would think, right?
Yeah.
But you'd be surprised how many still don't.
Really?
Yeah, it's becoming increasingly essential these days.
Okay.
A lot of browsers now flag websites without SSL
Oh, really?
as not secure,
Oh, wow.
which can scare away potential customers.
Right.
And also, Google favors websites with SSL
Oh, really?
in their search rankings, so it can actually impact your visibility as well.
Wow. Okay, so SSL is not just about protecting data.
Right.
It's also about reputation and search engine ranking.
Exactly. It's kind of a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about different types of hosting. We've talked about security and uptime.
Right.
What are some key questions someone should ask
Yeah, so you want to make sure...
when they're considering a hosting provider?
Exactly. You want to vet them.
Yeah.
Make sure they're a good fit for you.
Yeah. What are some good questions?
So start with the basics, right?
Okay.
What's their uptime guarantee?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of security measures do they have in place?
Okay.
What are their backup and disaster recovery procedures?
Okay.
You want to make sure, if something happens, you're covered.
Yeah.
Then you can delve a little deeper into their specific plans.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of bandwidth and storage are they offering?
Okay.
What are their pricing models like?
Mm-hmm.
Do they offer 1024/7 support? That's really important.
Yeah, so many things to think about.
It is.
It's like choosing a phone plan.
Exactly.
Like all these different features and options.
So many options.
So many options. So I guess the key is to really prioritize what's most important for your specific website.
Exactly, because if you're running a small blog,
Right.
your needs are going to be very different than a large e-commerce site.
Makes sense. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
A lot.
Different types of hosting, security, uptime, all these key questions to ask.
Yep.
So what does all this mean for you, the listener?
Well, I think if you take the time to understand even just the basics of web hosting,
Yeah.
it can really save you some headaches down the road.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's an investment in your website's future.
Exactly. And maybe next time you see that little padlock
Yes.
in your browser, you'll know what's going on behind the scenes.
Exactly.
So knowing all this, what kind of web hosting do you think might be right for you?
Yeah, it's a digital world out there.
It is.
Make sure your website has a solid foundation.
Absolutely. All right, that's all the time we have for this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you all next time.
See ya.